Right, okay, hello. Right, I think I've got all that sorted out now. So, right, what I'm going to do. Alright, I'll sort of start walking towards here, I suppose. Yeah, so the idea is that this video is going to be about, that's the wrong way. That's back to the start. This video is going to be about, I'll try and take us on a different route here as well through the game and have a little look, more of a look around. This idea, this video is going to be, it's going to be part 2 of Brexit, Russia and Syria, about how they're interrelated. I don't think I quite got it in one cohesive line of how all of these different things are interrelated with each other. Effectively, I would just like to clarify on a few things there, and just make a few, maybe bring up a couple of extra details. The point is that effectively, as I saw on Tagesschau, this piece of German news, this tabloid German news article, it's a tabloid German news channel. So anyway, the idea is that effectively, I'll just stop it there in the tree. The idea is that effectively, Syria is currently sitting on a lot of Russian oil that they want for themselves, obviously through means of taking it, because obviously they're not trading it. It's not being traded. They're just taking it. So, as I saw on the German news channel, as you wouldn't get in the press over here. So, the idea is that the Russian government are taking the oil from Putin's government, are taking the oil from are taking the oven. It's back to my chef days. Taking the oil from Syria, and therefore we are bombing. The UK is bombing Syria with the aeroplanes to then let's carry on walking here. The UK is bombing Syria so that the Russians can get the oil. Now, as I also saw on this German news channel, I just wanted to make a brief point that it seemed to be, as in the particular piece of news I saw and read on, that as I get the gist from it, that the refugee camps in Syria are actually Russian refugee camps. Now, I would state, knowing a little bit about social sciences myself, that I've got a background. I have got an upbringing and a background in it. I'm not completely educated on it yet, but I have got an upbringing and a background in it. That effectively, which is as good as any other, I suppose. Effectively, the idea is that the refugee camps in Syria are Russian. They're Russian refugee camps, as is stated in areas of the news. I've heard it stated before. They are Russian refugee camps for Syrian refugees. Now, I believe that, considering that it's Syria that is currently sat on a oh, don't go in there. That it is Syria that is currently sat on a lot of Russian oil. That the Russian diplomats, as you would call them, they're Russian diplomats, are pointing the Syrian refugees in towards Great Britain, where they're travelling an awful long way, all across Europe, completely by themselves, with no food, no water. They're begging on the streets just to survive, whilst they then go to France to try and get across the Channel, the British Channel, where they are then being where then the refugees that have been pointed by the Russian government in the Russian refugee camps. Oh, it's nice down here. In the Russian, bad quote. Anyway, that's not a joke. Anyway, the idea is that they're pointing them in the direction of the Russian refugee camps, which the Russian refugee camps and the Russian diplomats are pointing the Syrian refugees towards Britain, and then they're making it across the Channel whilst we're bombing them, so that Russia can get the oil from Syria, so that then basically all we end up doing is we end up imprisoning them. We end up imprisoning the Syrian refugees. They currently come across the border, and if you want a bit of international relations, this really is what's happening. They come across the border, across the British Channel, and they are then imprisoned by the British government in her Royal Majesty's Prison Service. And yeah, that is the current status quo on what is actually happening amongst the Syrian refugees in a political mind frame. Let me see how much time I've got left. Got a bit of time left. Got loads of time left. Anyway, that is what's happening with the refugees. Now, if I get back to my previous point about how it interrelates with things like Brexit, about how Russia, Syria and Brexit are interrelated, well, just to briefly clarify, so I would like to clarify that one. If I just get over here and stop right here by the nice ocean scene. So effectively what is happening is we are bombing the British government. I wouldn't blame the military for anything like this, because everything goes through the British government. All military orders go through the government. Effectively, we are currently bombing Syria to then have so that the Russians get the oil, so that then effectively this comes back to us in the form of tabloid newspapers, things like that, things like media in the press, which is the bit that I missed out, which effectively gets us to vote for things like Brexit, as sort of Islam is this terrible thing, and you get ISIS and all this kind of stuff, when they actually in actual reality don't exist anymore. And then effectively what's happening is then we vote for Brexit, which then effectively puts Putin and the Russian government. It means that they basically own the British state, because they bought all of our privatised. Because we privatised it and effectively sold it to them. Is kind of what I have to get at. We privatised all of our public services and sold it to the Russian government, as far as I know, and as far as I'm aware, and as far as I can come up and muster with myself. No, I'm not reading this out of the paper. I don't read a paper or watch the news. So if I'm slightly wrong on some of this stuff, then I do apologise, but I don't think I am. So so yeah, the idea is that we have effectively sold a lot of we privatised our public services like the NHS, things like that, and effectively sold them to the Russian state, which was what things like the Russian documents were about. It's effectively money laundering. It's effectively money laundering to Russian gangsters. Effectively, is what I'd like. I don't mean to say it out loud, but that's effectively what it is. So I'm going to say it anyway. So yeah, I would just like to end the video on that quote. Yeah, I think that was a good run. Okay, alright, thank you very much. Goodbye.